My kids say I'm a basic bee, like I'm the lady with the yoga pants and the skinny vanilla latte.
Ayelet Waldman was a federal public defender, a law school professor, and a successful fiction and nonfiction author. She lives in Berkeley in a beautiful home. She has 4 kids and what sounds like a pretty perfect marriage. I met her during a talk she gave in San Francisco as she made a big revelation.
It actually makes a lot more sense to use LSD. So I have this mood disorder, and it's just so happened that LSD made me feel a lot better, like a lot better. Like I was suicidal one day and I wasn't the next, which is miraculous.
After suffering from a gnarly mood disorder, she started dropping acid. Maybe I should tell you, she wasn't really tripping, she was microdosing. A typical music festival dose is between 100 and 200 micrograms. She was taking 10 micrograms, so between 5 and 10% of a usual dose.
What's the difference between
a microdose? Right. So I wasn't tripping every day. I've never actually tripped. I could say to you right now, you know, I gave you a microdose in your coffee, and you wouldn't know. You would be like, oh, well, you did what? You would notice nothing. And at the end of the day, you might turn to your cameraman and be like, wow, that was a good day, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Because it doesn't cause you to hallucinate. It doesn't cause you to have any perceptual changes, but there are metabolic effects.
Ayelet documented the results of the 30-day experiment in her book, A Really Good Day.
I believe that the effects on me were akin to an antidepressant, but without a lot of the negative side effects that I personally experienced with antidepressants.
Dr. James Fadiman is one of the world's leading researchers on psychedelics. Ayelet was following a protocol designed by Fadiman, where he provides guidelines for safety and effectiveness in microdosing, but he doesn't provide the drug or tell people how to find it.
The major benefit seems to be that there is an improved equilibrium of systems throughout the body, which is why it seems to affect so many different systems.
Tea time! Time to take a pill!
LSD is not the only psychedelic making a comeback and seeking legitimacy in science and health. The Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, or MAPS, sponsors research on psychedelics and helps scientists navigate the more complex pathways of regulation. They're now conducting one of the most advanced and promising studies in psychedelics, treating PTSD patients with MDMA, street name Molly. MAPS enrolled 107 subjects across 6 different study sites in the US, Canada, and Israel, treating all kinds of PTSD. One study specifically enrolled veterans, firefighters, and police officers. To learn more about this and other promising forbidden drugs, I went to their conference in Oakland. This is the largest gathering of researchers and scientists and users of psychedelics, and we'll explore the question of whether or not psychedelics are the new medical marijuana. Nope, no samples, but definitely some groovy legal experiences. Oh my God. Intensity of the colors that I just experienced. Like you can't believe. I am in shock. Ayahuasca is a drink made out of plants from the Amazon. It tends to be given as part of a ritual with a spiritual guide or shaman, following the ancestral traditions of native tribes. But it's become very popular outside of South America. Adam Andros is a psychologist and anthropologist. He lives in the Amazon, where he documents the effects of the treatment. What are the benefits? Because I understand it's like you go through this experience and then that changes you in a way.
You know, the experiences usually are very, very meaningful for people.
It's also not a party drug.
It's not a party drug, absolutely not a party drug. No. It is not usually a very pleasant experience, very physical, there's a lot of purging, vomiting and so on. It's definitely not something that you will do for fun.
It's also used to treat drug addiction and alcoholism. Scott says he owes his years of sobriety to this practice.
I was 33, 34, and someone told me about ayahuasca. And so I went down to the jungle and I did 15 ceremonies of ayahuasca in 30 days.
What?
And it literally changed.
That is a lot of throwing up, man.
It's, I would say, getting well.
He has since founded the Ibogaine Institute. Similar to ayahuasca, ibogaine is a natural psychoactive substance used to treat addiction by bringing people into the depths of their consciousness to the root causes of the disease. I had to see that happen in person. So we're crossing the border to Mexico right now because ibogaine and ayahuasca are illegal in the States, but in Mexico there's centers that offer these treatments. We're heading that way. I'm optimistic that this is the place. Good to see you.
Hey, Lilia.
Thank
See
you.
you again. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Diving Institute.
Yeah. So is it legal here and not in the States, or are we just doing some
This
shady
is
all around?
this is unregulated right now.
Unregulated, so
it's
illegal.
not legal,
But it's not illegal.
but it's not legal.
We're in a
But it's not
beautiful
illegal.
gray area.
Gray area.
The Institute treats everything from depression to multiple personality disorder, but specifically focuses on addiction. Kim and Colin are both here to treat their heroin addiction. They didn't know each other before, but tonight they'll share a room, each one in their own bed, facing their own demons.
We're all in this together. We're just trying to retrain our brains and look for new paths and new experiences.
How did it start, your addiction?
I guess I was in high school and pill form OxyContin came out and it just becomes something, a monkey on your back. And eventually heroin's cheaper.
I have a son, he's 6, but my mom has custody of him. She can give him a better life than I can right now, you know? I got into a car accident in 2007 and I fractured my pelvis in 2 spots, so I started using pain medication. And then once they stopped prescribing me pain medication, I started doing Percocets and OxyContin. That became too expensive, so then I just started heroin.
So what do you hope will happen after this?
I hope I get clean. People explain it's like a very, it's like a trip almost, but it's like resets your brain, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So we're heading in to witness the administering of the Ibogaine. After detoxing for a couple of days, participants receive a full medical checkup. There's a doctor, nurses, an EMT team, and even an ambulance waiting outside just in case. And then they're under, hallucinating, in their deepest levels of consciousness for over 12 hours.
Adios, amigos.
Studies have shown that only 30% of people who are opioid dependent stay sober after a year of undergoing a residential treatment. Scott says his success rate is around 70%.
They're coming face to face with parts of themselves that they've been unwilling to look at.
Kimberly's woken up. We can't bring a lot of light in because their senses are heightened, but it's okay for us to go talk to her. Do you remember the experience? Do you remember last night?
They're closed. It's just like a little video screen that like kind of like just, I don't even know, it just keeps going and going. Like things from your past that like have been brought up and like memories and stuff like that.
For all that we've heard about how MDMA could be great for treating PTSD and ayahuasca for addiction or LSD for mood disorders, all of the science is still very scarce, and that's because all of these drugs are still illegal.
Well, it prevents all psychedelic research from moving forward inexpensively. Professor Nutt says it cost us $15,000 a subject, and the LSD should have cost about $35.
MAPS, conducting the MDMA study for PTSD, is about to enter phase 3 of clinical trials. If they prove the medical benefits, a cost they estimate at around $20 million, they can apply to reschedule the drug and produce it. But not everybody advocates for just the therapeutic use of these drugs. Hamilton Morris hosts a show about drugs on Viceland. He sees freedom of consciousness as a basic human right.
And I extend that to all psychoactive drugs, including methamphetamine and heroin. And my concern with the emphasis on therapeutic use exclusively is that it still cuts out the people that are preferentially targeted by the war on drugs.
My question that I pose in this story is, are psychedelics the new medical marijuana, which is now so widely accepted as for its medical and scientifically proven benefits? How far are we from that when it comes to psychedelics?
You know, I think the popular consciousness is not there as yet. We've just begun to do some public opinion polling on it. And whereas you now have 80 to 90% of Americans believing that marijuana should be legal for medical purposes, which is up from 60% 20 years ago, on psychedelics, there's a growing awareness, but it hasn't penetrated, I think, the mass consciousness as yet. So in that respect, it is the new medical marijuana.
After 30 days of the experiment, where she microdosed every 2 to 3 days, Ayelet says she had to stop breaking the law. And that was heartbreaking.
It's been hard. I mean, I don't want to say like, oh, I did a month of LSD microdosing and now I'm fine, because it really isn't the case. I should be doing that now.